Happy New Year from the Feminine Duality. I cannot believe that I am launching my podcast just before the new year. It is insane to me how amazingly far I have come this year, what I have managed to achieve this year that has just been. Working full-time in a physically incredibly challenging job with shift patterns that change from day to day, raising 2 children, one of whom is severely disabled, running a YouTube channel about special needs family life, and building a new business from scratch. And this last bit has actually only been happening in the last 6 months. Ironically, when I started business planning for the Feminine Duality, in my head, I was going to launch the podcast on September 1st. Yeah, that was not going to happen. When I set that target, when I set that date, I thought I was being reasonable. I thought I was setting a target that was achievable. I set that target in July, and I was like, 2 months to get everything ready and to get me mentally ready whilst doing all of these other things. Yeah, that's a reasonable target. It was not a reasonable target. I missed my September 1st deadline. Of course I did. Pretty sure my daughter was in hospital end of August as well. She's in hospital several times a year, my oldest daughter. She has cerebral palsy, she has epilepsy seizure disorder, she has very complex medical needs, and when she has a little bit of the sniffles, she's in hospital with medicine-resistant seizures for several days. And this happens 4 or 5 times a year. And I hadn't taken into account the fact that my darling daughter is definitely going to throw spanners in the works, because that's what she does, right? And I was beating myself up because I had missed this. And then I listened to a podcast. It was a podcast episode by Julie Solomon. I'm going to try and find it and I will link it in the show notes. The podcast episode wasn't at all about deadlines. It was about something completely different. But the one thing that I heard in this, I think it's an hour and 20 minutes long podcast episode was, and then I decided I didn't need any deadlines. And I went, what? You can... Nobody told me you're allowed to do that. You can ditch the deadlines. Who knew? My entire life, in my corporate career and even in my retail career right now, I have been taught that all your goals have to have a deadline. They have to have a timeline. I'm sure you've all heard about SMART goals, and the T in SMART stands for time. You know, you have to set a date. If you don't set a date, you will not achieve it. And I set dates. And then I'm not going to say that I procrastinate, because I don't actually think that I do. I think I'm an incredibly productive and motivated and focused person. But, you know, I do a lot of things and then the date looms nearer and then I start panicking. And then, of course, when you're panicking, you're doing things from a place of lack, from a place of scarcity, from a place of fear. And you never do a good job from there, right? So I ditched the deadlines. I went, fuck it, not happening. I'm not putting a single deadline on this. There are a lot of deadlines I can't ditch because unfortunately society put deadlines on me as well, right? I have a time and a day when I start work. That's a deadline I can't do anything about. I have specific dates when I have my children. Those are deadlines I can't do anything about. But building my business was a deadline, or several deadlines, that I could go, no, I'm not putting a deadline. I'm not putting that pressure on me. And you know what happened? I have progressed so much more since I ditched those deadlines. Creating a podcast is not just about making up a list of things that I want to talk about. Even if I have a list of over 50 potential podcast episodes, I have a year's worth of podcast episodes on a spreadsheet. That is insane. But you also have to have an RSS feed. You need a podcast host. You need artwork. You need a title. You know, you have all of these things that need to build the foundation before you can put your voice out there. I can put my voice out there. I've been doing it for almost 7 years now in Parent XP, my special needs family vlog. That I have no issue with. Appearing on camera or appearing in audio, not my problem. But the technology basis underneath it, building all of these foundational stones. I have no idea where this sentence is going. No, I know where the sentence is going. I just have no idea to get there. See, foundations. Those were things I didn't know about. And some parts have been incredibly frustrating. Getting my email marketing provider to speak to my domain name, never thought that would be so difficult and require so many hours, but it has. But I got there and I'm so proud of myself. And so I sit here at the end of 2025 and I look back on the year that has been and I'm dreaming about the next year to come. I don't set New Year's resolutions because I do not believe in them. And now science is backing me. It's incredibly reassuring to have research saying 80% of New Year's resolutions have fallen by the wayside by February. Yeah, I've known that. I've known that since 21-year-old Tova said on New Year's Eve, I promise to never make another New Year's resolution again in my entire life. And now there's research backing me. There is also research saying that people in our age group, 45 and plus, are the least likely to make New Year's resolutions. And I think it's the same thing. We know New Year's resolutions don't stick. We know that stressing yourself into weight loss or fitness or not drinking in January is not the time for it, okay? And this is the thing, right? The winter solstice was December 21st. That's when the year turned. That's when the days start getting longer. January is still very dark and very cold and very tough. That is not the time to go out all guns blazing and change who you are. And that's not what I'm talking about today. Instead, I have a little ritual every year that I do to reflect on the year that's been and to look ahead to the next year and dream about what I would like the next year to bring in. I call it my end of year rebellious ritual. I have created a Google document for you that you can download. There is a link in the description of this episode, and you can go through it on your own with a pen and paper or fill it in the actual Google document that you're getting a copy of. And once you have downloaded it and you've filled it in, keep it and look back on it throughout the year. Because the things you write in there about the year to come are not set in stone. They're not resolutions. They're not promises. They are wishes, they are dreams, and things change. The prompts in this end of year ritual are both to look at everything that was amazing, but also to look at the things that perhaps you're not so proud of, or the things that happened this year that hurt. And I'm pretty sure there were a lot of things that happened this year that hurt. For the spiritual amongst my listeners, hi, me too. I'm half woo-woo, half pragmatist. And this is my woo-woo side coming through. 2025 was a fascinating year. In numerology, it was a 9-year. And 9 years are years of endings. A 9-year closes things off. In Chinese mythology, it was the year of the snake. And what does a snake do? It sheds its skin. There were changes that happened in 2025 that meant you shed things that were no longer working for you. I know it was for me. There were an awful lot of things in 2025 where I went, this identity does not fit me. This has to change. I don't think I have developed boundaries at a pace and in a way as I have done in 2025. Looking at a given situation and going, this doesn't work. I'm not doing this. And there were so many times when I was quite simply frustrated. I was frustrated with people around me. I was frustrated with situations. And every single one of those frustrations showed me something really important. I think one of the most fascinating lessons I had in 2025 was during the summer holiday when my children's dad got really, really sick. And he was so sick that he was physically incapable of looking after the children. And so I had to take them for over 2 weeks during the summer holiday. I don't think I've been so frustrated for a long time of just being at home with my children at all time. I love my kids. I adore them. I do not want them crawling in underneath my skin 24/7. I'm not made for stay-at-home mumming. That is not my identity. And that was a lesson that was delivered so hard in 2025. It's like, I thought I could do it. I thought that's no problem. I thought 2 weeks of my kids during summer holiday. That's wonderful. I think it was day 2 when I went, I'm over it. Can you go back to school? I realized that I had this calling in me, the feminine duality, that needed to be born, that had to come out. No matter what, I had to bring this podcast, this idea, this movement, I had to give it to you. And so much frustration that it has taken as long as it has taken. And such deep, deep gratitude to realize that if I'm going to do this, I've got to do it in the right way. And I've got to deliver it to you in a manner that honors my capacity, my energy. Because if I'm going to give all of me, I've got to give you the best of me. And I can't do that from exhaustion, from hustle, from, I just got to get it done. I've got to get this done. But that's where it lands. It's not, oh my God, I have to get this done. You hear the difference, don't you? You feel that energy. Now, coming into 2026, in numerology, 2026 is a 1 year. a year of beginnings. And in Chinese mythology, it's the year of the fire horse. It is fast and powerful movement. And I am really looking forward to next year and to see where that takes me. You know, the last little bit that I am shedding of 2025 is this identity of somebody who has to work for the man, who has to be employed in order to move into 2026 and become self-employed, doing this on my own and moving forwards in that way. And I can't wait. And so you can see, I'm sitting here with my bullet journal. I have all of my headlines that is in the Google document, the Year-End Rebellious Ritual, that you can get a copy of if you just use the link in the description of this. And I really recommend you do it. And I'm going to go through with you what all of this is. Before we get started, I'm just going to say you don't have to get it, because you can listen to the headlines as I'm speaking through in this episode, and you can pause and you can write things down. But if you want it as a document, it is there for you. You don't have to do it all in one go. You don't even have to do it on New Year's Eve. I actually like doing this around the solstice. And I know we're already past the solstice, okay? But that's when I started it this year. But 2 years ago, I didn't do this until the 28th of January because I did not have the capacity. I did not have the energy. So there is no right or wrong way of doing this. It's just a way of reflecting over your past year and looking forward to the next year. And that can be done in August for all I care, right? You honor your capacity and your energy. I do recommend that you try and get some time away from everything else, that there are no musts running around in your head and there are no children running around your feet while you try to do this, okay? Try and carve out a little bit of time for yourself to sit down and reflect. And that's not because you have to be on your own and all serene as you do this. It's because you deserve some damn me time, okay? The first category is 10 moments that lit me up. I want you to look back on the year that has been and think of 10 times. I may have written down 14. Go me. But I want you to think about the times when you felt happy, when you felt lit up, when things just landed for you. Number one on my list is building the business plan for the Feminine Duality. And that was not one moment. That was several moments over 6 months. It was practically every day over 6 months. Having had this dream percolating in the back of my head for years, actually, and finally going, I'm writing it down. I'm starting the business plan document. I'm doing it. Has just been so unbelievably energy giving and beautiful and fantastic. Another thing on the 10 moments that lit me up has been listening to podcasts. I have heard so many amazing podcast episodes this year that have really helped propel me forwards and give me a solid foundation of belief in myself. There are podcast hosts out there who I see as mentors and guides in my life now. But it can be anything. This is your list of 10 or more or less. You do you. The next category is 5 lessons delivered impolitely. Because let's face it, life can deliver lessons to you with the grace of a brick to the face. Whew. Wow. Yeah. And in this last year, in this year of the snake, in this year of shedding, I am pretty sure that there were lessons that just landed so hard and you thought to yourself, I didn't want this. I didn't need this lesson. Go away. And those are the ones I want you to write down. And I don't want you to blame yourself. This isn't a blame game. This is just looking at it, seeing what it was, and perhaps maybe see what it actually brought you. One of the very impolite lessons that I had delivered to me last year is that I got evicted from my last place where I was living. And if you're not in the UK, I'm just going to explain what this is. There's something called Section 21, or rather there was. It became illegal, I think, during this year. It meant that landlords, private landlords, could just terminate your tenancy for no reason. And my landlord did exactly that. I got the notice on the 15th of December and I thought, Merry fucking Christmas to me. Thanks. And I had to be out by Valentine's. And he would not give me any grace in terms of finding some place to live that was suitable for me and my children, and especially my daughter, who has a wheelchair and comes with half a household of equipment wherever she goes at all times, because those are her needs. I moved from a 3-bedroom house with a shed into a small 1-bedroom flat. I got rid of over 70% of my belongings. I was beyond stressed out. I was so unhappy, and this felt so unfair. And now I sit in my tiny little flat, and it is the perfect size for me. It's a bit crowded when my children turn up, but I love it. And getting rid of over 70% of my belongings, oh, it was cathartic. The amount of stuff where I've just gone, I don't need this. The 60-odd bin bags that went to the charity shop. The 60-odd bin bags that went to the tip. I feel so much lighter. It was definitely a lesson that was delivered impolitely. I would have liked the universe to have been a little kinder to me, but I needed to get rid of everything that was weighing me down. And this is what I mean with, yes, it was a hard lesson. It was something you didn't want to have to go through, but ultimately there was something there for you, wasn't there? The next one is 3 moments that reset the compass. 3 things that happened this year that really brought in change. Now, if you think about it, the thing I just told you under lessons delivered impolitely of having to move, of having to declutter and downsize, could also be one of the 3 moments that reset the compass, right? This is, a lot of your answers fit under multiple categories, and you don't have to come up with more for each and every one. I didn't actually leave that one in 3 moments that reset the compass, but I am pretty sure that I have the feminine duality as one thing in each and every one of the prompts for my year-end reflection. Starting to work on the feminine duality and the purpose, drive, and energy that it has given me, most definitely a moment that reset the compass. Another really, really big one for me was after fighting for a particular medicine for my daughter for 1.5 years, it was finally prescribed. And it changed everything for her. Suddenly, her seizure presentation halved and she stopped throwing up every day. I'm sorry, you don't need to know that, but it was massive. And I had been fighting for 1.5 years with her doctor to get this medicine prescribed. It gets prescribed and her health just improved vastly, so much. Is that something that reset the compass for me? Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because it reset the compass for my daughter, and everything that makes her life better is good for me. The next prompt is 3 priorities that actually mattered. What were 3 things that you poured your time and energy and yourself into that were really important to you? Where did your energy lie this year? What were the things that you really, really focused on? Guess what's in there for me? But also, one item on my list was my time, my space, my sanity, my boundaries. I have done so much work on myself this year, and I am so glad I have. Lots of my mental and emotional energy has gone on that. It has really been a priority for me this year. I didn't set out for it to be, but it has been, and it has been amazing. Next one is 3 things I lost sight of and would like to get back. We get so lost in the business of everyday stuff, of just getting our kids to school and getting dinner on table and getting to work on time and doing the laundry and all of these things. We get so lost in the normal day-to-day life that there are things that we know we love, we know we want to do, but we just don't prioritize them. I just want you to reflect on what those things might have been. What did you lose sight of this year that was actually kind of important to you? And then the next prompt, and I really like this one. This is one of the funnest, is that a word? The one that I think is most fun and I really enjoy writing quite a lot about. And it is the time when my energy fit just right. Can I think of one time this year when I just felt in flow, when I felt energetic but not hyper, when I was satisfied? What was that time? And the next one, not so fun, but important. And again, I don't want you to kick yourself about this. I don't want you to tell yourself off about this. I just want you to reflect on it. When was the time I betrayed my capacity? When was I pushing through what I didn't have capacity for? What have I been doing that didn't feel right? And for me, there were so many this year. But each and every one of them showed me a part of me that I need to work on. And this is the thing, don't blame yourself. Reflect on it and see, well, what did it actually give me? And finally, and if you're watching this on video, you can see that I haven't written anything there yet. I will do, but this is one I really want to take my time over. 10 things I am ready to create, claim, and call in. And now we are looking here, as I say, not at New Year's resolutions. We are looking at aspirations, dreams, and these can be practical things. One very practical thing on that list is going to be 10,000 subscribers to my special needs YouTube channel. I am so close, and I know it will happen next year. It will just be amazing. Another very practical thing is going to be keep going with the feminine duality. But there are also things that are a lot more esoteric in nature. I want to be a calm, present, and happy mom when my kids are here. I don't want to go through my motherhood frazzled, stressed, snappy, irritated. When my children are with me, I want to enjoy them being with me. I have done so much inner work on myself this past year, and that is something that I want to keep doing going forwards into 2026. I know that this Year-End Rebellious Ritual is part of it, and those are the kinds of things that I write down. Are the 10 things I'm ready to create, claim, and call in. And this list, as I say, again, I'm just going to stress this, it is not resolutions. It is not final. I didn't start to work on the feminine duality in January last year. It didn't even exist in January last year, except as part of a little niggly thing in the back of my head that kind of kept saying, there's something here. You've got something. You need to do something. I started working on it in June. In June, my mind, or possibly the universal energy, said, you can't ignore this anymore. It has to happen. But when I did my year-end ritual last year, it wasn't there. It was not on the list. So it isn't set in stone. You don't have to plan your entire year in January. But I think this New Year period is a really beautiful time to reflect and dream and aspire. And that's what I'm inviting you to do. And just as a final little thought, at the end of all of these prods, at the end of your chance to sit down and do this reflection, I just want you to think about if there was anything in there that surprised you. As you were sitting down, thinking about all these things, was there a thought that turned up and you went, oh, right, And if you want to tell me about it, you are more than welcome to do so. My email address is tova@thefeminineduality.com. You can find me on Instagram. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can leave a comment. If you are listening to this on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I would be so grateful if you were to give this show a 5-star rating and a review, because it really helps bring it out to other people. I have a big message to share with all of you this year, and I want to reach as many of you as possible. And now I'm afraid that my moment of sitting and reflecting is over, because I need to go and pick up my children and celebrate Christmas with them, even though it is Boxing Day as I am recording this. They have been with their dad for Christmas Day, and it's now my turn. So I hope you have had a beautiful Christmas. I wish you all a very, very happy new year, a prosperous winter solstice, and may the 1 year of the fire horse bring you everything that you desire.
From ashes, dust, and crooked lines, I forge a fire that still shines. I rise, I roll.